Hi everyone. So in this video, we're gonna talk about what a thesis is and how a thesis relates to the organization of an essay. So you've got an assignment for writing project number one. I've told you what you're supposed to talk about. I've showed you what a thesis is supposed to look like. And now I want to think about how you organize the rest of the essay. And that's part of what I'm asking you to do in your writing plan. It's really the function of the writing plan is to be able to figure out how to organize it. So let's see how this plays out. So a thesis, as we say here, is the main idea of an essay. Okay, hopefully we know that from 101, but hopefully it's a reminder, but it bears repeating. So, and I say here the word idea is important here because the entire point of writing is to convey our ideas, right? You've got an idea about something, you want to tell somebody what it is. I say sometimes students will ask if I want their opinions about stories or poems we read, and I will say that instead of the word opinion, let's use the word idea. That's because opinions don't need to be justified. You can end an argument by saying it's just my opinion. You don't need to explain your opinions because, as they say, everybody is entitled to their own opinions, right? And so if you want to say that, strawberry ice cream is better than vanilla ice cream, you know, that's your opinion. We don't have to go look up facts that prove once and for all that strawberry is in fact better. It's just my opinion, right? This is what I like better, right? And so opinions are things that don't need to be proved. Ideas, however, are a little bit different. When we use that word idea, we're suggesting that we've got something a little bit deeper. We've thought about something. And so if you're working for a company, let's say, and you say, look, I have an idea about how we can make some more money here, right? We don't say, well, I don't need to prove it to you. I think we can make some more money there, right? No. If you're in a meeting like that, somebody says, look, I have an idea about how we can make some more money. They say, well, tell us some more about that, right? Where did that come from? What are the actual prospects for this being able to do well? And so you have to kind of back that up because you might have somebody else who says, no, I have a different idea about how we're going to make some extra money, and then we might have a discussion about that, right? And so those ideas need to be proved, right? We have to go through and provide some evidence, really analyze them. We don't analyze our opinions. We analyze our ideas. And so keep that in mind that when we're talking about a thesis, we're saying this is the big idea that I have about this essay, right? But I mean, about this story, let's say. This is an idea I have about what this story means, about what's going on in this story. And then I'm going to prove that to you using evidence from the text. I have an idea that this story is about this, and if you look over here and read this line, you can see that that supports my idea. And if you look over here and read this other line, you can see how that supports my idea. So all an essay is just a way to back up, a way to provide evidence for your idea, right? That's all an essay is. You have an idea, and then you're going to provide some evidence that is going to be able to back that up. So I say here, ideas need to be justified. You need evidence to show that your ideas make sense, and an essay is just a collection of paragraphs containing evidence that proves the ideas in your thesis, all right? Now, then I say here, however, an essay can't just throw all the evidence into a big pile. Instead, we organize the essay using paragraphs. And so organization is something that we understand very well, right? We do this all the time in our own lives. If you want to organize your clothes in a dresser drawer, you say, look, all the socks go in one drawer, all my t-shirts go in another drawer, all my shorts go in another drawer, right? That's how we organize that. You can organize your silverware drawer. It is possible in your if you're doing silverware, and some people may do this, they just throw all their knives, forks, and spoons together in a big pile. You could do that, but then when you're looking for a knife, you got to go through there. It's hard to find what you're looking for. So we have those little trays that put all the forks over here, all the knives here, and all the spoons over there. It becomes very easy to find what you're looking for. And that's all we're doing when we're talking about organizing an essay. We're saying, look, we have certain kinds of evidence that's going to go in one paragraph. We have other kinds of evidence that's going to go in another kind of paragraph, right? And we divide those up. And that makes it a lot easier for the reader to understand what's going on. It also makes it easier for you as a writer to figure out what you're supposed to be doing, right? I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do that, right? I have this kind of evidence, and then I have that kind of evidence, and I got some other kind of evidence. And so having some kind of organizational structure makes it easier on both sides. So I said each paragraph focuses on one type of evidence. As we discussed for your paragraph assignments, a topic sentence is the main idea of a paragraph, right? So each paragraph has a main idea that holds it together. And so the topic sentence tells us what kind of evidence we'll be using in that paragraph. There might be different kinds of evidence evidence for each for each paragraph, and so we have a topic sentence that tells us. It's like putting a label on the drawer, right? If you put a label on the drawer and say, this is where my socks are, you go, oh, that's where the socks are, right? And a topic sentence is like a label. It says, this is what you were going to find in this particular drawer. Okay, so you want each paragraph to explore one specific kind of evidence, and when you're done discussing that evidence, then you move on to the next one. I'm going to tell you everything I need to know about this thing. When I'm done, I'm going to move on to the next thing. Okay, and on some level, it's really basic. We understand that level of organization. We're just not necessarily always used to being able to apply that to writing an essay. So I say here, your essay, your project will have an introductory paragraph that contains a thesis that responds to the topic I gave you. The paragraph should also introduce the title of the poem or story and its author, right? And so that's why it's an introductory paragraph. It introduces all of this, okay? So you have an introductory paragraph that has your thesis. That's the big idea. We talked about, I gave you some examples of that in the video where I explained what the actual assignment was. Following your introductory paragraph, you'll need to have a number of body paragraphs containing evidence that supports your thesis, right? Each body paragraph should have a topic sentence that explains what kind of evidence the body paragraph contains. So that's all you do is you say, look, I've got a topic sentence here. I've got a thesis, right? It's the big idea. Here's one kind of evidence that supports that thesis. I'll give you a topic sentence that tells you what that kind of evidence is. Then I give you that evidence. New paragraph, I have another topic sentence that explains what kind of evidence you're going to get in this paragraph. I provide you with that evidence, and I keep doing that all the way through. And that's all we have for an organizational structure. Then I say, then you'll need a sentence or two as a conclusion that basically summarizes what you said in your essay. So let's get then to the actual writing plan assignment and see how that plays out here. So the writing plan assignment consists of two parts. For part one of the assignment, you'll do the following. Number one, state the thesis of your writing project. And I've explained what a good thesis is like in the previous video and in the actual writing plan assignment yourself. And I say, remember that your thesis must mention symbols and must explain specifically what the symbols tell us about the overall meaning of the story. Your thesis should be only 1 or 2 sentences long, and make sure to look at the sample thesis in the assignment for writing project number 1 for a guide. So you're going to just state, the first thing you're going to do in your writing plan is just state the thesis. 1 or 2 sentences, that's it. Just the thesis, nothing else. So we just need the thesis for the writing plan. The next thing that you're going to do, that's for the first part of the writing plan, you just need the thesis. For the next thing, you're going to state the topic sentence of your first body paragraph. And as we said before, a topic sentence is a complete sentence. I don't want a fragment, I want a complete sentence that expresses the main idea of that body paragraph. It tells us what we're going to get in this body paragraph. Again, it's like the label. How would we label this body paragraph? What's going to go in it? And remember that each paragraph has to specifically support your thesis, so I should be able to see that connection when reading your topic sentence. So there has to be some kind of connection between this topic sentence and the thesis. Again, all that the topic sentences are doing is providing evidence of that thesis, so we should be able to see some kind of connection. Also, each body paragraph must have a particular idea that holds it together and differentiates it from other paragraphs, right? There must be something that says, look, here's this kind of information, here's how it's different from that other kind of information. And then I say down here, important, do not write the entire body paragraph, just the topic sentence. Just want the topic sentence, okay? So far you're going to have 1 or 2 sentences for your thesis, and then for the topic sentence for your first body paragraph, 1 sentence for that. Then I want you to write the specific quote or quotes that you will use to support that topic sentence. So your topic sentence needs to be supported by at least 1 quote from the story. Write the specific quote that you plan to use. This quote must be directly related to the topic sentence. You've got a topic sentence, you're going to prove it, right? And I say important, don't say anything about the quote, just write it here. And then you repeat steps 2 and 3 for how many body paragraphs that you have. There's no rule saying you must have 3 body paragraphs. Students often think that, but there's no rule about that, so you can have as many as makes sense. You should probably have between 3 and 5 body paragraphs. So let's see practically how this works. There's a second part to the writing plan I'll get to in a second, but let's look at how this works. So this person says, in the flowers, you can't write about the flowers, but I'm just using this as an example. In the flowers, Alice Walker uses the flowers as a symbol to show us that Mayap is becoming less innocent when she learns about the hatred toward African Americans and the brutalities that she and other African Americans might face in the future. I also have had experiences that have made me realize that I am much less respected and so much less safe than I thought that I was, right? So it mentions you, it mentions the story, it mentions symbols. The flowers is a symbol, and it gives us a specific idea about what we see going on in the story. So that's a good thesis for this. Body paragraph number 1, topic sentence. At the beginning of the story, Walker uses the flowers to show us that Mayap feels innocent and carefree. Right? Well, so this thesis said she used the flowers as a symbol to show that Mayap is becoming less innocent. Right? So realize this first one is saying here's where she is innocent. Right? Let's see how that happens at the beginning. She is innocent. I'm going to use these quotes. She felt light and good in the warm sun, and around the spring where the family got drinking water, silver ferns and wildflowers grew. So these lines are about how she feels innocent and carefree, right? That's the first paragraph. And that's all I needed to tell you, just the topic sentence and the quotes. Then I'm going to go here. I'm going to say paragraph 2. Later in the story, Walker uses flowers as symbols. Notice that I'm repeating that phrase, that flowers as symbols. I'm talking about flowers as symbols. Sometimes students might feel like I'm just repeating myself, but I'm giving you something different here because I'm saying later in the story, she uses flowers as symbols to show us that Mayap is becoming less comfortable with her surroundings. And now we have by 12 o'clock her arms laden with sprigs of her findings. She was a mile or more from home. That's kind of scary. She's from home, away from home. The strangest of the land made it not as pleasant as her usual haunts, right? So things are getting a little bit scary here, and we're talking about those flowers. She's still talking about those flowers. She's got her arms are filled with those sprigs of those flowers, but things are starting to get a bit darker here. So again, I'm still talking about flowers as symbols, but I'm kind of showing this movement from this is where things were innocent. Now things are going to start to become less innocent when we get here. Okay, and I've got some quotes to back that up. Then I have body paragraph number 3. By the end of the story, the flowers symbolize how Mayap begins to see the world as dangerous. As she picked the wild pink rose to add to her bundle, she noticed a raised mound, a ring around the rose's root, right? That's the noose that's around the rose's root, right? It was the remains of a knotted noose. Mayap laid down her flowers and the summer was over, right? So this is about bit darker when we're going to have flowers connected up with the noose, right? And so that's why I say that this paragraph is going to be talking about how the flowers symbolize how she begins to see the world as dangerous. Okay, so again, all of these are talking about the flowers of symbols, but I'm showing how she's losing her innocence as she goes through, how the flowers become symbolic of that. Then for the fourth body paragraph, I say, although I've never found the remains of a lynched man, I too have had experiences where I learned that I was not safe simply because of who I am. And I say, you don't have to have a quote down here, simply tell your story. However, you could have a quote from the story if that resonates with you. So that's how we want to think about that. The writing plan. You were just kind of mapping out what you plan to do. So it's just a few sentences here. And if you make a mistake, it's easy to fix that, right? If you had written the entire thing, that's going to be hard for you to go back and rewrite the whole thing. That took a lot of effort, right? So instead, what you're going to do is you're just going to have these few sentences. You're going to have the thesis, you're going to have a few topic sentences, and you're going to tell me what those quotes are. You're going to be planning that out, and then I can look at that and I'll say, yeah, that works, or no, that doesn't work. Part 2 of the writing plan, you write is fairly easy. You write a paragraph of at least 200 words in which you discuss the following issues. Why did you choose the story you write about? How did you prepare? What helped you most in preparing to complete the assignment? What obstacles do you think you'll face? What do you do if you plan to get stuck? And any other thoughts or concerns, right? And I've got a sample down here at the bottom about what that part 2 looks like. You can't see all of it in it's not showing all this, but it talks about I chose it because I had experience of losing my innocence as well. I prepared to write this assignment by reading the story. What was most useful was seeing the responses the other students had at specific questions on the discussion board. You can read through this and you can see what you're supposed to do with that. But again, so this is what we need to do for the writing plan. And a lot of it is just thinking about what you're going to do for this assignment. It's not actually getting into the meat of the assignment. We'll get into that later after I mark this up. So that's where we have the writing plan. As always, if you have any questions, make sure to ask me.